As someone who really loves the beautiful game, there are very few teams in the world that consistently showcase entertaining and highly technical football. And in the past decade, no team has been more synonymous with that than FC Barcelona. Whether you're a fan or not, their style of play always catches the eye. And over the last decade, FC Barcelona have done just that. They have entertained and have won multiple Champions Leagues along the way, have pretty much made La Liga their property, and consistently play a brand of football that is rivaled by very few in the world. But with all the success that Barcelona have enjoyed, they don't seem to get it quite right in the transfer market. Constant scandals, overspending, weird transfers, and the buying of players who completely don't fit the system. FC Barcelona, when compared to their rivals across Europe, seem to not know what they're doing at all in the transfer market. That's why, in this video, we will look at the many areas where FC Barcelona can improve in the transfer market to sustain their dominance as one of the best clubs in Europe. So where do we begin? Let us start with arguably the most controversial signing FC Barcelona has made over the last decade, and that is the swap deal for Samuel Eto'o and Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Now both of these players are world class in their own right, but Samuel Eto'o, who had come off the best season of his career, scoring 36 goals, including a goal in the Champions League final, was swapped to Inter Milan for Zlatan Ibrahimovic, who had only scored 29 goals the previous season. And on top of this, FC Barcelona gave Inter Milan $66 million with the deal. So not only did Inter get a world-class striker in Samuel Eto'o, but they also got $66 million. Some call this arguably the greatest deal in football history, because we all know what happened next. Inter Milan won the Champions League with Eto'o in their side that year, while Zlatan only lasted one season at the Camp Nou and was sold off to AC Milan. Not only did Barcelona lose arguably one of the best strikers in the world, they spent $66 million to get rid of him. And while Inter Milan deserved the Champions League that year, people often wonder, would the story have been different if Eto'o was still at the Camp Nou? Would they have beaten Inter in the semi-finals, won the Champions League 3 times under Guardiola instead of 2? We will never truly know. But what we do know is that FC Barcelona made a terrible mistake with that signing, showcasing their lack of understanding of a player's worth in their system. This lack of understanding also caused them to sell Thiago Alcantara, one of the best midfielders in the world, and a player who FC Barcelona could have used in their current squad. The second problem with FC Barcelona's transfer policy are the signings that simply don't make sense. There are players who come in with a lot of potential but simply can't break through because of the high standard that FC Barcelona demands of their players, such as Ibrahim Afellay or Yeremy Mina, both talented players who simply were not up to the standard that FC Barcelona demanded. And then there are signings like Boateng, completely and utterly useless. Not only was he way past his prime when he was bought in, he was playing for Sassuolo in the Italian league. A player who even during his prime years would not have fit in the system at all, and to bring him in as a backup for Suarez while trying to challenge for the Champions League seems like a joke, but it happened. And while FC Barcelona were losing 4-0 at Anfield and Suarez seemed completely out of form, FC Barcelona could have used a formidable backup striker to get at least a goal that would have sent them to the Champions League final. Other players who FC Barcelona have bought that never made sense are players like Alex Song, Douglas Pereira, and Chigrixi. I don't think I pronounced that one right. But anyways, moving on. The next problem with FC Barcelona is simply overspending in the transfer market. Over the last 3 years, FC Barcelona have bought 3 players for over 100 million euros. Coutinho, Dembele, and now Antoine Griezmann. 3 players who in my opinion are world class, but not at the caliber to demand 100 million, especially when players like Virgil van Dijk were sold for 85 million and Hazard going for 100 million euros, both of whom in my opinion are better players than the 3 I mentioned before. The likes of Real Madrid and Bayern spend far less and get players who instantly impact their teams and push them to win. Madrid have gotten Luka Jovic for 60 million euros while Griezmann came to Barcelona for almost twice that amount. Another team with arguably the best transfer policy in world football is FC Bayern Munich. a team that seems to get world-class players for very cheap. And even when they do break the bank, they never go beyond the $100 million mark. Finally, the last major issue with FC Barcelona's transfer policy is how messy and rushed their deals seem to be. When FC Barcelona bought Neymar from Santos, the deal was not as straightforward as most deals are. Neymar's father was involved, and there is still an ongoing investigation about that deal to this day. And while we're on the subject of Neymar, the fact that FC Barcelona could allow their star signing to be sold for $222 million showcases how unprepared and overconfident they were in their deal. And because of it, they panicked and bought Ousmane Dembele for over 100 million euros. Money that could have been spent buying two very good players instead of an injury-prone youngster. The Coutinho deal was also controversial, with the Brazilian forcing a transfer to FC Barcelona. And finally this summer, FC Barcelona are caught up in yet another scandal with their signing of Antoine Griezmann, a deal which could technically be cancelled due to irregularities on FC Barcelona's part. Do you see a trend here? While clubs like FC Bayern Munich and Real Madrid can conduct business in a professional manner without any controversy, FC Barcelona cannot seem to get a player without some sort of negative headline hitting the newspapers. All in all, we can summarize that FC Barcelona need to completely change their strategy when it comes to the transfer market. Lionel Messi is so good that you often overlook the many missteps that FC Barcelona make. He carries the team and they win, but sooner or later he will retire and leave the club. And while that will be a sad day for not only FC Barcelona fans, but the footballing world as a whole, FC Barcelona have to learn to win without him. And while the famous La Masia Academy may not continue to produce world-class talents, it is the transfer market that will help FC Barcelona win right now. And if they continue this trend of overspending, panic buys, and useless signings, the days where FC Barcelona play entertaining football and challenge for La Liga and the Champions League may soon come to an end. There you have it. If you like the video, share, subscribe, and peace.